Okay, I'm waiting for some parts that are supposed to be delivered today on the fish truck here, but I've changed all my bleeders and I did make a mess on the floor. That's my own fault. These two bleeders on this side were both bad. The two on the other side I was able to clean out and reuse. And one of the reasons that the brakes on this were terrible is anybody that's familiar with these vehicles knows that air gets trapped in the ABS module. And if you have a tool, you can just go to the brake bleed, which I've already done, but I'll do it again. So we'll continue. And then, you set your parking brake, you do all that because I don't want anything bad to happen. And you put it in neutral or in park in our case. And as soon as I hit this pedal, you can hear it cycling the anti-lock brake, and that helps get all the air out of the line. Now the first time I did this pedal was bucking like crazy, but this time obviously it's pretty good. And then I did use my no DTC, so everything's kosher. I did use my Mighty Vac to do the preliminary bleed on this. So everything seems to be pretty good now. The reason the brakes were really bad, besides some air in the brake controller, is this bleeder was really seized and full of mud or something. But I was able to clean this one out. So that one I got to actually work. And that caliper had no fluid in it, hardly any. So no, the pads are great, the rotors look great, so we're not changing these. I think somebody tried to do a hasty brake job, thinking that that they knew what they were doing, and they didn't. So, we'll do what we got to do. But yeah, I forgot to put the cover on the first time I went to do the automated bleed, and that shot everywhere. So that's my own fault. I get to clean that up. Tires, how fun they are to get off. You can see, doesn't matter, you get dissimilar metals. Even if there isn't salt in Utah, there's still, full form corrosion and dissimilar metal corrosions, and you get galvanic action and all these buzzwords. So, waiting for even though the tie rod ends actually seem to be fine, I ordered a kit that's all the tie rod ends and the center link, the idler, and the drag link. So let me pick this up, and I think I'll be able to show that a little easier, just how bad she is. Okay, now that we're back, I've got her up at a comfortable height, and hopefully this shows up pretty clearly. Nope. Not gonna happen without the tires. Holy cow. Okay, never mind without the tires. That's almost impossible to move. Oh, there you go. You can see the idler is shot. And like I said, I ordered a kit with a new pitman arm because, on these, the joint is actually on the arm. So I'm gonna have to replace that, which is not fun on these because the nut is in a bad spot. So you wind up dropping the steering gear a little bit to rotate it forward, which means I'm going to have to pull the linkage. It's work. What do you do? I'm trying to save money. And then this one has a tear in the boot. So I'm just going to steal that axle from the other truck when I swap them, because it's real easy on these. Yeah, you can see I had to change that bleeder. Overall, everything under here doesn't look terrible. There's been a minor oil leak, but not enough to even leave a drop on the floor, so I'm not going to worry about it. And a motor I don't care about. I had heard when driving it some exhaust leaks, and you can see, right in here, there's obviously something blowing fluid. There's one up there, one right there. So I'm not going to get too worked up over that for my ice fishing rig. And yeah, you can see there's some kind of weird bug case in there, but I decided to leave it because it adds interest. But I was able to clear that Zert. I was not able to clear that one. And it took a few tries to find one that fit properly. It was a little deeper in there than it looked. And then I had missed this before, but this sway bar end link is obviously gone. I don't know where that is, so I'll have to order one. And well, I'll just order a pair, but you know, they're not expensive. And you can see, obviously, that seal leaks. That'll be fun, but I may wind up changing over to the case out of the other truck anyway, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, and what's probably going to be the end of today's work on the fish truck, which I know it doesn't seem like much. One, you know, you can see I got fluid everywhere. This is going to smoke like it's on fire. But two, I pulled a plug because I was planning on doing ignition anyway. Although I'm not going to do cap rotors and wires because if they're bad, I'll just take them off the other truck because they're not that old. But there you go. So yeah, 58 mils. Okay, just got shipment from 1A Auto, and stuff is sticking out of the box. So I'm trying to document that. It came UPS. They normally bring stuff up, but this time they put it on the trash can. And I think I know why, because I think they know I was going to refuse this shipment. So let me open it and see if anything's damaged. ShopDog's looking a little bored. We're making some progress. I've got the suspension out. I actually just got the new idler in. Well, let me bring the light around. So there's the new idler and the idler arm. I still haven't gotten that off yet, but I definitely need to. If you, well, let me move the light again. This is probably the worst part of the whole thing. Yeah, that wiggles and wiggles, and boy, that shouldn't. So there's my major steering issue right there. That, and you know, this old idler isn't any good either. So we've just been piecing it all together. Little here, little there, little here. The big job's going to be pulling that pitman arm. That's not going to be fun. Okay, the next step, I've got to release that black plastic cover and pull a pinch bolt and slide the shaft off. So I'll show you that once it's done. Okay, we've got the knuckle busted loose. Getting ready to go ahead and pick her back up. And pull those bolts. Slide that thing over. I'll show you in just a sec. With those bolts pulled and the truck up, now notice I left the lines on because I don't feel like dealing with all the power steering fluid. You can kind of wiggle the gear, and you know there's a brace here you got to work around. And now I should be able to get in here and get this nut off and get the pitman arm puller in there. So let's take a look in just a minute. Okay, 34 millimeter on the impact. Took care of that right quick. Now we'll go ahead and take the pitman arm puller. Let me show you how that's on there. Let's get some light from above. And then that should pull the pitman arm. One thing to note, you definitely want to keep track of where it's splined. So don't mess that up. Okay, with the new arm in place, I've got her kind of roughed back in. It's time to go and fight the good fight and get the steering column back on. That's always fun. And after a bit of the good fight, you can see, got that on there. Hopefully we are indexed on the column correctly. That was fun. It always is. It helps to leave these bolts loose so you can rock the steering gear a little bit, because there is a brace back there that's kind of in your way. Yeah, this guy here, up there. So it's not that bad. And just like that, tie rod ends are torqued and set up. I've got everything close enough to get it in for an alignment. I do still need to tighten that sleeve, but yeah, that all went in pretty easy. Not much to it. Not even that expensive. Alright, and that's going to be it for tonight. We got the shocks in on both sides. Haven't done the back yet, but I haven't bought that end link yet either, so we'll deal with that later. And it's going to make doing the spark plugs really nice, having the tire and the flap off. They're not normally even that hard on these anyway, but boy, it doesn't get easier than that. So we'll try to do that tomorrow.